When we talk about the best anime villains, the first thing people think about is the philosophy of the character, why they are doing the things that they have done throughout the story. Many have dark upbringings that groomed them to the path of destruction, and some are just deemed to be evil for the sake of the plot. Yoshikage Kira from Jojo's Bizzare Adventure is a character who wasn't struck by a dark childhood, or even a villain for the sake of the plot. Kira isn't like the typical shonen antagonist that goes around trying to be a tyrant or hell-bent on world domination. He wants a calm and boring lifestyle, which is pretty hard since he's a mass murderer with a severe hand fetish. His weird obsession goes to the point where he goes after women that fits his criteria, kills them and blows up everything except for their hand, and proceeds to go on dates with them. This is extremely weird even for JoJo standards, but this is what makes him special in the story of Diamond is Unbreakable. Kira is just a normal working man, waking up at a certain time, eating and getting dressed at another time, then going to work, come home, eat and work out and be in bed at a consistent time, where he lives his life without any interruptions. As I mentioned earlier, he wants peace, but when his normal life gets interrupted, he has no choice but to fight, and in his own words, if I were to fight, I would never lose. His stand Killer Queen is extremely powerful and menacing, especially after he receives a Requiem boost that allows him to travel back in time for an hour. If Hayato hadn't intervened, Josuke and everyone would have died without even realizing it. Another thing that makes Kira a great antagonist is that despite the fact that his strength is unmatched compared to the typical stand user, it isn't as strong as we think it is. As we see at one point, severely weakened Jotaro decimates Kira, or when we see Crazy Diamond turn Killer Queen to an absolute joke. My favorite thing about part 4 is that it doesn't go the typical shonen route with having an overpowered villain and making him stronger than the protagonist, and then having the protagonist get a bullshit power boost throughout their final battle. At the very start, Josuke was stronger than Kira, and if it wasn't for the cat plant stand and its invisible bubble combination with Killer Queen, Josuke would have humiliated Kira. Yoshikage Kira is not a man who needs power or control. Rather, he's an unstable man trying to live a peaceful life. Next up, we have one of my personal favorite villains in anime, Utsuro from Gintama. Utsuro isn't a typical antagonist that's supposed to be a foe for the main character. He's the personification of evil, and it's the constant reminder of the main character's failures. He's the split personality of the main character's master, Yoshikage Kira. Utsuro's an immortal who lives centuries, accumulating different personas, and acquiring the persona of Gintoki's master. After being attacked and killed repeatedly over the years, Utsuro created multiple personalities to cope with the pain, until one day he was placed in prison and forgotten about for decades, until he was able to leave when his cell door rotted away. But at the same time, Utsuro's other personalities took over their shared body and decided to kill people, partially as revenge and partially to strive to become human again, which led to him being captured by the imperial government, who instead of executing him, decided to make him into an assassin. Utsuro's hatred for the human race runs deep. It's not just because they hurt him physically. He's been through so much trauma that he wants to end the world, and himself along with it. He psychologically broke Gintoki by making him believe that if he hadn't killed Shoyo, Utsuro wouldn't exist to bring utter destruction to the world. Imagine facing a person that not only wants to destroy everything you care about, but also looks like the person you admire the most. Utsuro's cold, emotionless presence is what makes him truly terrifying. He's a walking death sentence, calculating every move, obliterating the strongest characters in the series, and manipulating everyone into a universal war. Utsuro not only took down Mibozo, who was the strongest man in the entire anime, but he also beat the entire cast of Gintama, and it wasn't even Gintoki who defeated him, but he went on his own terms. Do you know how terrifying it has to be to see your enemy kill himself, then comes back and tries to kill Gintoki in the body of his old friend? That's next level evil, which all expands onto his hatred towards humanity. Utsuro's hate against the human race embodies a profound tragedy. His immortality and the resulting accumulation of pain and trauma shaped this cold, ruthless persona, as Utsuro is not just a villain, but a living reminder of Gintoki's failures. This connection deepens the conflict, which is why Utsuro has to be one of the best antagonists in anime.